Yes, because I'm gonna have the chance. Yes, we're alive. Hi, everybody. It's such an amazing time here on this live stream. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good, I don't know. From anywhere you are joining from, I welcome you to this live stream. I am Precious Kolawole, and oh my God, today we have like a very, very special guest among us, like here with us, rather. He like you guys have been seeing the flyers all over the social media platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, everywhere. This is a charge for you to subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed before. Follow us on those pages. Yeah. Okay, let's go right into it. I am Precious Kolawole, like I said, and I am a dev degree intern at Shopify. I am in the backend engineering stream currently, and by January 2025, I will probably go into applied machine learning engineering, which is very, very fun, and I'm really excited about. Also, I'm a fourth year computer science student at Carleton University here in Ottawa, Canada. Right here in school, I'm in the applied I'm in the industrial application stream currently. However, I'm kind of leaning towards the artificial intelligence and machine learning stream low key. And I also do a few research. So I work as an undergraduate research assistant in my school. So it has been a very, very fun ride. And we all know this channel. Like I call it One Stop for Tech News, where we get to feature amazing people. And an example here is Joe Karanja, which has joined us all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, right?
Yeah.
Joe Karanja was someone I met in this year, September, at Deep Learning in Daba. And one conversation we had kind of changed everything. Like I was able to read through his passion, read through his like the way perspective of life, or the way he gets to view the world, he gets to view the tech space, and the things he aims to contribute to this tech ecosystem. So I was really fascinated about all those things. And he's a great person. He's a software engineer. He is in the research department, if I'm right, at Leash AI. Yes, Leash AI.
Yeah. Please.
He's call right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Okay. We get to learn from him, get to know about Nairobi itself. I am a very like I'm really, really big on diversity. I love to see what different countries are doing and how the youth environment is kind of bubbling, how people are embracing the new resources, the new tools. And a very big one is tech because AI is just like taking over everywhere. So we are going to give Joe Karanja the room to talk about everything in Nairobi, Kenya. Himself, also like his journey in tech and also his contributions. So, anywhere you are joining from right now, please bombard the chat section. Let us know where you are joining from. If you are joining from Nairobi, if you are joining from Nigeria, if you are joining from Canada, United States, Dublin, Europe, okay, I'm dreaming very big. But let us know where you are joining us from, and we are going to give room for you to like answer some questions I've already prepared. And towards the end of the session, we'll also give you guys the chance also to ask him questions. Anything you are curious about, his life journey, something specific, the failures he has experienced, like the wins he has also had in his lifetime, like maybe not in his, yeah, the wins he has been able to accomplish for himself, and a lot of those juicy questions, anything or whatever will help you also in your life journey, in your career trajectory. So you can put them in the chat section and we will address them as we progress. I have been talking to for so long. Okay, now let's go right into it. Joe Caranda, how are you feeling this morning?
Hello. It's evening actually around here. It's 7 p.m. I'm feeling happy. I'm excited for this, and I'm looking forward to share a lot. Maybe I'll start with a simple background about myself.
Mhm,
Joe Karanja. I'm a software engineer, and I've been in the industry for quite some time, 6 years now.
mhm.
Yeah, and I head the IT research and development department here at Leash AI. Mostly, I lead a lot of young people, young engineers, more than 20 in full time as staff, and also around 30 interns from institutions around us. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. You've been doing a lot of things at Leash AI. If before I go into that, are you able to like tell us about your background more? Where are you from in Kenya? Help us to know more about Kenya. Maybe your educational part as well. Yes, your educational part, and maybe the way you how you ventured into the tech field. Because I like to go very like start from the very bottom and then we can build it ground up.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mention about Nairobi. I was raised in the outskirts of Nairobi, uh, town called Ngong. That's where I was raised. Did my high school at a different part of the country, central Kenya, and I've traveled within the country. Yeah,
Huh?
I've been there for quite a while. My education background, I did a degree in computer science at a
Okay.
university in Nakuru, Kabarak University. Yeah, my education was really direct. How I got into tech,
Mm-hmm.
these are quite interesting for me. When I was in high school, I had a passion for to do medicine and I
Ah.
wanted to be a neurosurgeon.
Oh my
But
god.
after high school, there's that yeah, there's that moment before you join campus. Used to stay like 9 months. So I liked being industrious, get my hands on the job. So I went to a local cyber cafe and I was doing a lot of stuff, helping people out with any problems they had with their computers, tasks in typing. That's how I got to learn about computers, and that's where my passion started. And I realized that I was a problem solver by then, and solving problems was my thing. So I selected computer science, and the challenge was on.
Oh
Yeah,
my God, that's such a wonderful story. Joe, do you know that we kind of have a similar, like a similar beginning, a similar career path in a sense that I also wanted to become a medical doctor, especially
interesting.
neurosurgery. That was what I wanted to specialize on.
Interesting.
And I was
Yeah,
so crazy about medicine. Oh my God. For me to be in tech right now has been a miracle. But and you also mentioned the fact that you went to cyber cafes to do
yeah.
some stuff, and that was how you 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 develop that interest, right? It's interesting
That's
because
why I developed the interest.
when I also started, I had to like visit cyber cafes to use their computers. So now it's like this is common in most African
Yeah,
countries. I don't want to generalize, but this is
yeah,
interesting. Sure, this is interesting. Okay, if I'm going to now go deeper, after deciding you wanted to do tech and it wasn't medicine, what was the experience of learning to code? Yeah. Was it Like, did you have to learn on your own, or did you have resources? Did you get help from people? Something like that. Like, what was it like learning to code on your own?
My experience in learning to code is quite interesting also. I learned to code in the industry. When I
Hmm.
joined campus after my first year of study, I was privileged to meet someone who challenged me, told
Okay.
me that if you want to gain the skill, you need to get your hands on the job.
Hmm.
Therefore, I was able to get an internship at an organization in Nairobi. It was an NGO. And when I was in the NGO, I approached the receptionist office and asked them, what problem are you facing in the company? And they had a solution that they wanted for HR and decided to do it. By then, the language we had been introduced to was Java programming.
Mhm.
So I did a solution for leave management using Java,
Ah.
and I learned on the work, learned on the process. For after 3 months, I had created a module for employees to actually apply for leave, and it had to deduct days based on the time in the year because for the employees they were being given 21 days a year. The CEO
Mm.
was getting 30 days a year of leave. So I had to do the maths also. So SQL, Java, and I was using Java.swing for the UI. A 3 month challenge. That's how I got into coding. And from that time forward, I decided I'll be doing projects that deal with problem solving. That's
Jesus
how I
Christ.
got into coding.
This is
Yeah.
interesting. So you started your
Yeah.
first job without any like strong technical experience.
Yeah. And I was actually the youngest person in the organization. And it was slightly before COVID struck. And that's where I took up the challenge to build a software for them. They had not seen a developer before because it was not a tech company. Remember, it was an NGO, and I could code in their office as I do IT support stuff. And that's how I got into the industry.
That is crazy. I have a lot to say on this. Jesus Christ. You I think the first lesson I'm gonna pick from here is the fact that you don't actually need all the resources. Like, you don't need all the resources to start solving problems. You don't need, like,
Exactly.
you can create a room for yourself. You can create a space for
Yeah.
yourself in the even when there is no space, even when there is no room. That is something I'm realizing in
Exactly.
the story right now. Walking up to an NGO and telling them, hey, what is the problem you guys are having? Because I know I'm going to solve it. Right? At the same time, I feel like
Yeah.
it takes a very crazy level of self confidence to be able to pull that off. Because if you are not confident in your ability to actually learn, because according to what you said, you did not have the technical expertise to actually solve the problem
Exactly.
in time.
Exactly.
It means
Yeah.
it takes like a very crazy level of self-confidence and like
Yeah.
self-assurance that I can
Exactly.
pull this off to be able to do
Exactly.
something like that, because you don't want to promise and fail them, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh God,
You
you are on steroid. I'm sorry,
need
you are on steroid.
confidence and passion also. You are
Passion.
driving factor. Yeah, you need to be passionate. And then when it's your
Hmm.
first time in an organization, you
Yeah,
want to create that image, and it's your first time you're getting a chance to prove yourself out there to the world.
exactly,
So you need
exactly.
to believe in yourself and do it actually.
Hmm. Joe, if I'm going to go deeper on that, how
Yeah,
did you become so passionate? Like, what most people, they struggle with self-discipline. They struggle
exactly.
with building passion, even though they want to make a change, they want to do something really well, they find themselves not being consistent. How was it different for you?
Uh, One, I'm happy you mentioned about passion and discipline. Those are very key when you want to do something in tech.
Yes,
And
yes.
one of how I can put it is that when you are when you're given a chance, for example, in an organization
Yeah.
to build something, and you're not yet good at it,
Mm-hmm.
I always I always I had seen how big tech companies were doing products. I had the image of where I wanted to be,
Mm.
being in a room full of developers who are building good stuff. You've seen the guys working. You've seen the images out there of people building uh, code to deploy rockets to space and all that. That's where I wanted to be. And when I was visioning myself after my degree, I wanted to work in such a space.
Mm.
But getting such a space was hard because when you get now to the industry, there's what you bring, and then there is what you find in the industry, and you
Yes.
need to bring this you need to bring this to reality.
Yeah.
And I knew for me to do this, I had to do it right, and I had
Mm.
to go into details, no shortcuts for
Mm.
that. That
Okay.
is what was driving me, the passion to do something. And when you do, for example, when you build a tool or you build a solution
Mm-hmm.
using code, you see it and
Yes.
you love the work of your hands. It's like you're creating something from scratch. That
Mm.
actually pushes you to be passionate. The discipline, you actually require discipline to run to get to know about a programming language. You need the
Yes.
discipline to
Mm-hmm.
do. Yeah.
A lot of
It's not easy, I know, but the consistency, the
them.
discipline pushes it. And at the end of the day, when you can write code, hello world, pushes you to the next level, and you can
Yeah.
now build something. Yeah,
I like that. I like that. Oh my God. So I'm picking a few things from what Joe just mentioned. He said, when you are given a chance, right? Sometimes people give you the chance to prove yourself. They give
yeah,
you the chance to develop yourself. And it's
exactly.
not left to you to actually hold on to that chance and be able to make something out of it, right? And
Yeah,
my problem with some people will be that they are given the chance and they don't even know they have that chance, right?
exactly.
They
Yeah,
won't know how to maximize the chance to build something for themselves. And some people, they are even like chances all over. They have chances all around them, but they just can't identify those chances, right? So it sometimes it requires you just being true to yourself, being observant of
exactly.
your environment, and
Yeah,
just being very keen with where you want to be so you can identify opportunities that are being thrown at you. And
yeah,
you also mentioned the image you wanted to be. Like he said, he has seen some people that he wanted to look like. And then he kind
yeah,
of modeled himself to look like those people. Although
exactly.
when you eventually grow, you probably want to be real, be unique, and be your real self. But sometimes at the very beginning, you have to picture something, picture somebody, and you kind of just follow the person's step. You follow the person's step just to kind of get to a certain level before you can
Exactly.
becoming your real self. Thank you so much, Joe. I am loving it. Oh God, I am also getting back on it. Thank you so much for that. Okay,
Yeah,
now let's go to our next question. You mentioned that you had to approach this NGO organization to get
yeah,
first role, right? So that was your
yeah.
first tech job.
That was my first tech job
Okay.
for 4 months.
4 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were not referred. You just walked into the organization to claim the role, right?
Uh, yeah, at some point I was referred,
Okay.
but the interesting part of the story was when I was referred to the
Mhm.
organization, I was actually referred as a learning process, but I
Mm.
decided to take the chance and actually work on something that could
Okay.
solve a problem they had.
Aha. So we are
Yeah,
saying sometimes you get people to refer you, receive opportunities from people. They are kind
yeah,
enough to refer
you
you
get
for
people,
jobs.
you get people to refer you, yes,
Hmm?
but you are the person to take the chance, and
Mm.
that's get to those people who will refer you.
Okay. Now I'm
Yeah,
picking something. I'm picking something. People that will refer you, they will just fall from heaven.
exactly. You need
Yeah.
to approach them. You need to convince them, and they need to
That you are
also
worthy of being
believe in
referred.
you that you can.
That you
Yeah,
can pull something off. Oh God, you are stirring me up.
yeah,
Thank you so much. Okay, now let's go to the next question. Hmm. I want to dive into like the tech scene in Kenya because I've been
okay,
in Nigeria and I know what it means to work in tech in Nigeria, right? I know what
Yeah.
is happening there.
Yeah.
And I know that the youth are normally the ones taking up the space, the
Exactly.
tech space, and they are the ones
Yeah.
with new ideas trying to change the world or whatever. If I'm going to ask you a question, how would you describe the current tech scene in Kenya?
Yeah.
And can you quantify their involvement? Do you think the youth of Kenya are really invested in tech? Are they really passionate about tech? Or are they just like, let's become doctors, let's become whatever? I don't know.
Okay.
Mm,
Going to dissect it in two ways.
okay.
One, the urban youth. Then the urban youth are exposed and really exposed to tech.
Mm,
The tech scene in Kenya is innovative. People
okay.
are really doing great innovations out there,
Yeah.
and we have a lot of enthusiasts in terms of tech.
Mm,
You never miss events in Nairobi, connecting, networking, and cocktail events. You won't miss hackathons happening in Nairobi. All
okay.
this is there. Therefore, the platform is there. And then most of the institutions also are embracing tech.
Mm,
Campuses are embracing tech. And we also have government initiatives that are also pushing tech. There's something in Kenya we call the Silicon Savannah. It's it's kind of a few kilometers from Nairobi, in Machakos, and there is a technopolis being constructed there. So there is a lot of tech happening, and people are really getting innovative. And maybe later in the conversation, I'll dig deep into some few innovations that are actually,
hmm.
yeah,
That's interesting. And
yeah,
you mentioned that we have like organizations that are trying to like get people into tech. And you also
exactly,
mentioned that most people are tech enthusiasts, right?
yeah, the tech enthusiasts.
What's the connection between those organizations that are providing the tech services or the tech opportunities and the enthusiasts? How do they meet? Like, how are the organizations getting those enthusiasts?
Uh, Platforms being used are institutions,
Hmm.
mostly TVETs and campuses. You'll find that organizations are collaborating with these academic institutions to put events in place, and
Okay.
communities also exist. There are communities for the established tech companies in the country that people
Ah,
get to join. We
okay.
have campus communities that
Hmm.
also people get to join. And through these communities and events, people get to collaborate in hackathons. Like last week, there's been a hackathon in collaboration to a local bank in the country, and
Okay.
an institution in the country. And
Ah.
all these young people have a platform to build something. And that's where the rubber gets to meet the road. Yeah,
I like that. We are going African. I love that. Okay, that makes a
yeah,
lot of sense. So it's like organizations collaborated with universities, institutions,
exactly.
and they are
Yeah,
getting them from those schools. That's a very good
yeah,
way to look at it. Because I remember when I was in Nigeria also, my school, Obafemi Awolowo University, my first deep dive into tech was through my university. And how did I get to know about them? Because one organization called Data Science Nigeria decided to
yeah,
create like a data science community in my school. I was able to
yeah,
join that, and that was how it all started. I think this is a very good way to actually catch them young, because most people are in school and they don't have the understanding of tech, but if you can get them right there in their school, that is great.
exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. Guys, if you have questions for Joe, I think this is the time when you need to start putting them in the chat section. It has been very juicy so far, and I personally I feel blessed. Okay? All right. So drop them in the chat and I'm going to like move to the next question. Hmm. If I am going to ask this funny question. Not too funny, but I would say while learning or starting to work in tech in Kenya, I know as someone as passionate as you are, sometimes you wish I wish some things could be different, and sometimes you be like these things were really good. So I'm going to ask this question structured like this: what aspects of the Nairobi tech scene stood out to you as good? And what were some pain points you wish could change or could be improved? Yeah.
Okay. I'll start with the good parts.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
have it.
The aspects in Nairobi that are good is that you can see what is happening, meaning you
Mhm.
have a point of reference, and there are already startups that have been established, tech startups. We also have
Mhm.
global companies like Microsoft and Google
Okay. Wow.
having their headquarters also in Nairobi, and you can see that there are events that have been put into place where you
Mhm.
can attend open events involving people even from high schools to compete in some tech competitions, people in institutions and campuses to get into this. That's really good when you are getting into tech. And
Exactly.
tying it to the pain points is that the people who get to know of these events are
Mhm.
the ones in institutions, the ones in universities, the ones in TVETs.
Okay.
People who have not been privileged to join institutions are
Mhm.
left out, and that's where there is a gap. That's a pain point. And then when it gets to communities,
Mm.
communities are platforms where people can be seen and they can also actualize their skills out there with the industry. You find that sometimes it's hard to know how to shine on these platforms. How do I
Mm.
become a leader in this community? How do I lead a certain domain in this? The information has not been clearly put out for everybody. So there is some abstracted information
Mm.
who really want to join. And yeah, from myself, how I got to know of these programs and communities, I was
Mhm.
in camp. Then I met uh, some of my friends going for an event, and I tagged along. And then I realized that there was a developer community happening all this time, and I never
Okay.
knew about it. That's how I
Mm.
started getting. You get into one community, it changes to the next community, it changes to the next community. Therefore, the tech space is good, and there are young people who are actually doing a lot of stuff. So they normally inspire us and they get us moving. Yeah,
That is amazing. So I like what you said about the fact that people that are not yet in school, they don't get to be exposed to these organizations. In as much as the first initiative of expanding their resources to universities, the first that initiative is really good. However, those that are not yet in universities, they get left out.
exactly,
Maybe this is where we can like look at the aspect of introducing this to high schools, like secondary schools,
exactly.
for those that are not yet in the universities. Because you were not quite long. I think a friend of mine, she started something with one organizations and they were going from one high school to another high school. We call them secondary schools in Nigeria. What do you
We
guys
also
call
do
it? Secondary
secondary school.
schools, right? Okay.
Yeah,
So they go from one secondary school to another secondary school to talk to these girls. And it's really interesting that I don't know. It's a very funny scenario because these kids they only know about what they are being exposed to. If I'm not exposed to something, there is no way I can function in that realm, right? So if my
exactly.
idea is limited to just going for trading after graduation, like after what did they call it? Graduate, I can still say graduation, like going for trading after graduation, learning a trade, doing something basic. I can only see within what I have been exposed to, right? Some of
Exactly,
these kids
exactly.
don't even know that they can become doctors. I'm trying to leave the tech scene now. They don't even know they can become doctors, they can become nurses, right? Because their schools have only just told them, hey, after grad you can learn something, you can become a caterer, you can become a chef, right? And they don't know
Yeah,
beyond all of those things. And these are local schools. I believe we mostly need to we should go to and expand our reach to and inform these people of what is going on, right? Because if we
yeah,
can catch them very young, then they have limitless opportunities.
yeah. Actually, agree with you on that.
Mm,
And the perspective that I realized was the reason why most of the kids in
mm.
primary schools, you call them primary schools in Nigeria,
Primary schools, yeah.
primary schools don't relate with tech careers because in
Mhm.
tech we have cyber security, we have data scientists, we have software engineers.
Yeah.
The reason they don't is because in the lifetime of a kid, they have interacted with very few professionals. At some
Yes.
point, they got sick and they went to a hospital and they saw a
Yeah.
doctor. So they can relate to what they can see, a doctor.
Exactly.
At some point, they every day when they go to school, they see a teacher, so
Hmm.
they know who a teacher is.
Yes.
Then at some point, there was a lawyer involved, and they
Mm.
see a lawyer also, so they can relate to law, they can relate to medicine,
Yeah.
and when they see infrastructure being constructed around them, they can relate to engineers. You see
Engineers.
what?
Oh my God. I love the way you dissect that.
But at some point, uh, these kids have not been exposed to people doing code,
Mm.
deploying systems. They have
Nah.
not been exposed to data scientists, and
Mm-mm.
that's the reason why they ought not to know about all these careers.
Yeah.
And the only point that we are exposed to this is
Mm.
in campus or
Yes.
when it's too late to actually take an action. But I also agree with you that if it's done prior, maybe when someone is in primary, they get to see talks from developers or from engineers, then they start gaining the interest. And actually, there
Mm.
is a community we are working on
Ah,
also to
okay.
address that, the pain points that we have for guys not in the campuses not being involved, for the young kids not being exposed. We want to
Hmm.
involve and expose, more like democratizing tech, making it available for everyone. And
Exactly.
that's one of the organizations or developer communities that we are currently building right now.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. You know, Data Science Nigeria did something similar. I think that was in 2022. Because my sister worked with Data Science Nigeria at one point, and I remember them having to talk about, oh, teaching high school students from home using digital learning and all of those things. I was really amazed to see initiatives like that. And I believe if we can have something like this in Kenya developing, then we'll be able to like catch a lot of kids at a very young
Yes,
age. Yeah.
exactly.
I
That's
like that.
true.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I want to go into your own story about like the I know we talked about passion and how passion was something you really held on to. But what are like the personal values, the talent, the skills that contributed to your growth? Because if I evaluate your progress so far, you've kind of grown very, very fast. And like, what has contributed to that growth? And what would you advise, like which one of those skills would you advise Nairobians, Kenyans, Nigerians to develop as they are also trying to be like you?
Okay. The skills are really soft, soft
Mm,
skills, and I normally have it written down, and I normally say these a lot also with the most of the people I interact with.
mm,
Passion, discipline, commitment. I happened to
mm.
work with people who are really good in their skills and they were really good in development,
Okay.
but there was a disconnect in some of these skills. And I realized when you start with passion, for example, you
Mm-hmm.
love what you do. You get to wake up every morning without feeling it as a burden. When
Mm-mm.
you get to be passionate, you also get, it's not hard to commit.
Yeah.
So every
Mm,
day you are building something in tech or you want to grow your career, commitment is key. And then discipline, the discipline aspect is I want to learn a new framework, I want to engage in a new skill, I want to make sure next year I'll be doing A, B, C, D.
mm-hmm.
The fact that you can set a goal and
Mm,
work towards achieving it shows that you are disciplined towards it. So those are the three skills that really propelled me. Being
mm,
passionate about solving problems in
mm-hmm.
tech, having the commitment to wake up every day and work on
Every
them,
day.
and then the discipline to actually achieve new milestones and goals. So
Oh
the
my
three
God.
are very, very, very key.
I
Also,
love that.
taking an initiative. Sometimes we get to see something is not right, and maybe wait for someone else to take the action. We can just take the initiative and get it done. Mostly,
Mm,
it falls under organizations, and it might seem new, but volunteering at
mm.
a point in time exposes you to most of these skills,
Okay.
and you get to have a platform to work it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's interesting. You just made it very clear to us that being passionate is not enough. You can be passionate, but it won't really get you that far.
Yeah,
With being passionate, you need to be committed,
exactly.
and you also need to be disciplined. Yeah, yeah. I know there are
Yeah,
many passionate people. They just want to wake up
yeah,
one day and be the next Elon Musk. However, did you know the number of years Elon Musk has committed to his goals, right? Of taking everybody to Mars, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Commitment also, waking up, being
yeah,
disciplined, having the gut, the audacity to pursue some really difficult things. And I think that's going to take me to a
yeah.
question for you, Joe. You mentioned being passionate, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned being very committed and disciplined. But sometimes, in as much as we want to be passionate, we don't have, like, we face a lot of difficulties. So most people, they are passionate, but the difficulties they are experiencing, they are way too big. They are way too huge for them to forge ahead, right? So
Yeah.
did you face any difficulties while doing all of these things, or you were just like an immortal, like a superman? Like how? How did you do it? Maybe it's gonna help a lot of us here on this call.
Yeah, there are difficulties. There might be financial difficulties at a point.
Yes, that's
There
a big
might
one.
be expectation difficulties where
Mhm.
people really expect so much from you.
Mhm.
And there also is a difficulty where, yes, you're working hard, but it's not getting through, and then you end up getting a burnout in the process.
Mm.
There have been difficulties all along, but I can put it in a way that you can get to a point where you cut it down to achievable goals,
Mm.
and make sure, even if you're not moving fast, make sure you're moving. And they
Mm. I like that.
and
Mm.
yeah, someone said, if you're not flying, make sure at least you're running. If you're not running, make sure at least you're walking. If you're not
Okay.
walking, make sure at least
Cool.
you're keep
Yeah.
moving all along. So there's been difficulties here and there from a point in time. Sometimes when you are growing your industrial skills and you're still learning, you have your
Mm.
coursework that you need to cover, and then you
Yeah.
still have to work in that domain that you are
Yeah.
filling in, and you need to balance. So finding the balance is where one of my difficulties came in,
Mm.
and it was really tricky at that point.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that. I like that you mentioned financial difficulties. It is a common problem I have seen in Africa specifically. Many people want to dive into the tech space, but they don't have what it takes. They don't have the funding, the resources to do all of these things. They don't even have laptops to write code, not to talk of being able to deploy or build something, right? There's also this issue of data subscription. People don't even have data to run their code, and they are building machine learning models. How is that possible? Using GPU costs you so much already, right? If you don't have those resources, you get discouraged. You get 100% discouraged, right? And sometimes you are able to pass through the financial difficulties phase, but at the same time, you build something, but you are not being recognized for the work you do. Or you build something and you send them out, but you are getting rejected. You receive a lot of rejections, a lot of failures. And if this keep compounding, we get burnt out a lot also. When I started, I forgot to mention, when I started, I was coding on my phone for like 1 year. It was the most crazy experience I've ever had in my lifetime, right? And
Yeah,
also, there were times when you were just applying for a lot of things and nobody was like, they were not acknowledging your kidney, and that's majorly because you are from this limited area, limited resources, and all of those funny things, right?
yeah,
But he
yeah,
mentioned that you can break things down into achievable goals, break
exactly.
things down into achievable goals. And I
Yeah,
love the fact that you mentioned, if you are not running, make sure you are walking. If you are not walking, make sure you are crawling. And if
yeah.
you are not crawling, please just do anything. I beg
Keep
you.
moving.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep moving. Just keep moving because
yeah,
you don't want to be left out in this era of development. A lot of things are drastically changing. And if
yeah,
you are not changing with it just because you feel like you are limited or because you don't have what it takes or you don't have enough resources, compared to other people outside of your region, you are gonna be left out. I'm
Yeah.
so serious about that. And I like
Yeah.
that you've made it clear that you can actually create a space for yourself in the midst of difficulties. You can
You can.
create that niche and make yourself known, like just fighting amidst all odds. I don't like the
Yeah.
concept of fighting all the time, but it's something we have to talk about. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am enjoying this. We have like two questions from Suji Adewale, and I am going to get to those questions as soon as possible. I want you to touch base on Leech AI, your company. I remember when we spoke, you mentioned a lot of things you were contributing, you were doing for the company, and I just want you to like mention the transformation the company has experienced since you joined them, and you can walk us through some of the changes and what you currently do at Leash AI, what you focus on, and maybe what your future goals are for the company. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, this is a very interesting story that I love sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Before I got to join Lisha, my first organization was the NGO.
Okay.
Later, I went to another tech company,
Ah.
Africa AI, and then I landed at Lisha AI. So it
Okay.
was in 2021, and I met the CEO of the company,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a conversation.
Okay.
Lisha AI was focusing mostly on AI, machine learning, jobs, and creating youth opportunities in this field. And it was purely AI, ML, and training and working on these jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I had a passion to develop software engineering teams. I had
Mm-hmm.
not gotten a chance to join a very serious environment that was purely dealing with development and engineering.
Mm-hmm.
And what really propelled this is that the CEO of the company believed in me that I could work something out, and he mentioned to me that feel free to
Mm-hmm.
develop an environment and to create a tech
Okay.
department that focuses on that. I immediately onboarded some of my classmates who we had the same passion and goals, and we
Mm-hmm.
started drafting it out. So at
Some of my.
now we've grown to a point of having uh, over 50
Oh,
software developers on premise,
my
and the
God.
other model is still going on. That is for jobs, AI, and ML. And one of the challenges that we are working on is that building local solutions.
Hmm.
Most of the AI solutions that we see are abroad in the US and in all those places, but
Mm-hmm.
we want to start building local solutions to
Solution
address local problems.
problems. Yeah.
Currently, we are working on one of the farms to build a model for harvesting, fertilizer
Ah.
application, and crop counting for ML and AI. That is
Hmm.
for machine learning.
I love
But
that.
we still are doing softwares. We have divided the IT R&D department has been divided into
Mm-hmm.
5 divisions. We have R&D. We have that is and R&D is where we have the developers. We have data science. We
Okay.
have hardware networking where we do the networking infrastructure for the company. We
Mm-hmm.
have security and surveillance,
I love that.
and we have also cybersecurity. And all these 5 divisions is where we also create a platform for enthusiasts or people already in institutions who are looking for internships to come and work with us and
Mm-hmm.
build all these solutions. In terms of engineering, we're already doing software for the local markets, and that's where we are headed
Oh
to
my God.
position ourselves as problem solvers of the day.
I love that. I really,
Yeah,
really love that. Like you were able to build a division, like a team of
exactly.
developers to start working together all the way from scratch.
Over
that
the
is
years.
like a work of maybe as a product manager or program manager or whatever. That means you are even doing more than your job description. You are doing more than your job title, right? You were able to
Yeah,
build a team, like an IT team, to focus on a particular goal. And what is the goal? to build local solutions to local problems. I feel like this is a
Yeah.
very, very interesting thing because, like you said, we have a lot of solutions all over the world. The United
Yeah.
States, they are all
Yeah.
providing solutions, mostly global solutions. However,
Yeah.
most of these global solutions, they are lacking in the sense that if you do, I understand this thing as if you are not feeling the pain of a region, you don't have enough
Exactly.
empathy, you don't have enough
You don't.
compassion to build the
You don't
solution that will
resonate.
properly
Yeah.
address the problems they are facing. So we
Yeah.
actually need to, we among ourselves need to actually come out and build the solutions that will address our problems from the very, very ground root all the way to the top because we are the
Taking the
ones feeling
initiative.
the problem. Go for it.
Yeah. We are the people to take the initiative. And
Exactly.
I check that most of the solutions that we have, or if I check my phone, most of the
Mhm.
applications are imported. We didn't build them ourselves.
Okay.
But when applications or solutions were being built and being
Mhm.
designed, they had a target population for them. But
Yes.
the
Yes.
people who understand the problems we are going through are the people who are actually in Africa because we
Exactly.
understand what we resonate with,
Yeah.
we understand what we are going through, and if the local developers build
Mhm.
solutions for people they live with
Mhm.
and know their problems very well, we're really going to resonate with
Exactly.
them.
I like what you.
Language is a thing also. Most of the
Mhm.
apps using English,
Yeah.
but most of the population we have would like to use an application that has a local language.
Yeah.
And I believe in machine learning, there is a lot in
Mhm.
NLP that's being done, low resource languages,
Mhm. I
all
love
that.
that.
But also in solutions that we are doing for the industry, we need to
Mm.
make them local. And in Kenya, we normally have the M-Pesa thing that we use to transact money. People love it very much,
Yeah.
and something that comes from a local perspective.
Mm.
If it's done for all the other solutions, then you can imagine how far we can go
I
and tapping
know.
the digital economy of the continent and the country. That is going to be really key.
I know. I know. That is interesting because
Yeah.
it I don't know. Let me make an example. When I was in Nigeria and I was really passionate about like the field of medicine, I remember wanting to look into the skin problems, into different skin problems and try to build something that can predict different forms of skin infections, blah blah blah. And I remember trying to gather data sets. I went to Google. I was trying to find ringworm on a black skin, like boil on a black skin, vitiligo on a black skin. I struggled to
Yeah,
see those data because they are not there, right?
exactly.
We
Yeah.
ourselves need to come together and put together this data set. Another
Yeah.
example was, I think, around language, pidgin. Or we have this language in Nigeria called pidgin language. It's very
Hmm.
funny, and people. I think somebody was trying to build a model that can. I can't remember the actual solution they wanted to provide, and they could not see any data set of pidgin language, right? So some people, the developer community, had to come together and put together those data sets. These people from outside of Africa, they won't come to solve these problems for us. We are the
Exactly.
ones to build those solutions, right?
Yeah.
I really love that. I really love that. You know, right now, I want us to take a look at a few questions in the chat, especially the
Okay.
one from Tunji Adewale. Oh, I want to be sure my internet is still good because I'm saying like it's coming down a little bit. Okay, it's fairly good. All right. I think I'm good. So I can see a question here from Tunji Adewale. He's saying, as a budding software engineer, is there a need to take a separate data science course? Do you want to answer that, Joe?
Yeah, I will answer that.
Yeah, take it up.
Okay. This is really interesting. As a software engineer, is there a need to take a separate data science course? I'll tie it into this perspective. The tech
Mm,
ecosystem or tech is changing, it's updating, it's moving, and you have to move with it. The technologies we are using in 2024 are not the
mm,
technologies being used in 2000. They have really changed. And if the world is moving towards AI and machine learning,
mhm.
we need to adapt because It's not the
Yeah.
strongest species that survives, but the one that
Mhm.
adapts to change. So
Mm. Okay.
to it's important to skill up, and I will take a separate data science course and
Mhm.
ties and connect it to what I'm already doing. When I'm doing my softwares, and at some point I need to do some visualizations, it's good to understand what it is entailed. And we normally have a T structure. A T structure like a T, an inverted T, where you make sure you know a number of things, but you specialize on one line. So
Yeah.
that one is very key. Even if I've specialized in software engineering, I'll make sure I know data science. I'll make sure I know machine learning. I'll
Yeah.
make sure I understand something to do with cybersecurity. And
Yeah.
there's also some, if you do Venn diagrams, if you do a Venn diagram for software engineering, a Venn
Mhm.
diagram for data science, where they connect, you find some things like data engineering. So
Yes.
you need to also exploit those opportunities and
Yeah.
specialize. So I'm really open to that because learning is a continuous process,
Yeah.
and in any field you are in, it's
Mhm.
advisable to do something, but
Yeah.
stick to one line and don't ignore the outliers. Yeah,
I love the answer so much, especially the Venn diagram aspect. There are intersections, and those
exactly,
intersections they need to be explored. Like you need to
exactly,
explore the intersection. I love the
exactly.
T diagram also. In my program right now, my dev degree program, you get on a four placements during your undergraduate degree. And in this placement, you get to do front end engineering, you get to do back end, you can decide to do product management, you can decide to go into applied machine learning engineering, like I'm doing, you can decide to go into infrastructure. So you have four different experiences before you graduate. And after your graduation, you can tell yourself, this is where I want to specialize, this is what I want to do. However, you want to know that machine learning solutions, they need to be consumed by clients, by end
Exactly.
users, right? And that's
Yeah,
where the front end application comes in. You don't just want to build a solution that stays on your laptop, it has to be used by somebody. And
exactly.
in front end development, we also explore user experience. If people are having issues trying to make use of your product, they are just going to leave your site and not care about it anymore, right? All of these are connected. So, Sunji Adewale, it makes sense to take a separate data science course. All right. Let's go to the next question. He's also asking, how would you advise a fresh graduate to navigate the tech space, considering the fact that he or she has to make a living? Oh my God. I love the question so much. Go for it.
Okay. Uh, I understand being a fresh graduate is challenging because you end up being to companies that expect you to have experience, and that's what you are looking for. And also considering factors to do with making a living and having something. There is a sustainability strategy we were applying here
Mm-hmm.
because our working model is kind of different,
Mm-hmm.
where you get to maximize on the skills that you already have. Maybe I want a software engineering job as a full time job, but I can do something as simple as building a website,
Mm.
tying back to identifying problems. There is a lot of gigs that you can do in relation to your course, and that can serve the best in sustainability.
Yeah.
But to navigate a job in a tech space, if you have the connections to land, if you are lucky, there's a point that some people are lucky to have connections and land directly. But for the most of us, we are not that lucky. That's where the volunteering aspect comes in,
Mm-hmm.
and tying back to what we are saying, that being connected to the industry without the need without needing monetary gains,
Yeah.
makes the people you're working for have confidence in you. And when they are
Mm.
hired you, they won't look for someone outside. You're already inside. So they'll just elevate you to that process. So it's like managing our expectations.
Mm.
I've talked with a number of people who are graduating, and they expect that immediately they graduate, they land a job that is going to give them about $5,000 a month. And that might be too ambitious. We need to manage our expectations at first, volunteer where we get, and also focus on maximizing on the skills you already have.
I
And
like
when
that.
you're out here, you can attend a lot of events, network with these people, collaborate on projects. That's how people get to know what you are doing, and
Mm,
you get something, and they actually refer you to short-term contracts. That's how you will end up even getting into a
mm,
job. But what I normally advocate for is that there is a lot of opportunities out here that have been untapped.
mm.
Might be looking for jobs,
I like
but
that.
the jobs are already scarce. But there is a lot of opportunities that have been untapped. There is a lot of problems to be addressed. Identify it, solve it. As simple as a website, there's a shop around you or a store
Yeah.
that needs a solution. You can digitize them as simple as you can. That's it. You have
Mm.
already started building confidence with the people around. And that's how you get to elevate your career step by step. It's not cast to stone. There is no cheat code to this. It's one plus one is equals to two. You're looking for a job, one plus one can be even a million, and it can be any crazy number. It's not
Exactly.
cast in stone. But you have to maximize on what you know.
I
That's what I
like
have.
what you just said. I like what you just said.
Yeah,
You need to leverage on the skills you already have in as much as you want to gain new experiences. You already have some skills, leverage on them.
exactly.
It's actually interesting that I personally was not exposed to the aspect of like wanting to make money while navigating the tech space. I remember the early days, I just wanted to learn, right? I just wanted to know a lot without actually trying to make money, make ends meet. But the older you get, the more that you see, right? As you get older, you have more, what's it called, expenses to take care of. A lot of things come your way.
Yeah,
As a fresh graduate also, people are now relying on you, all of those expectations, right? So sometimes you have to devise a means to just make life work for yourself. And I like that he said leverage on your skills. There was a
yeah,
time when, okay, I'm trying to be vulnerable here. There was a time when things got really crazy for me, and I had to sign up on Upwork. Was it
yeah.
Upwork? Yeah, I signed
Work.
up on Upwork. That was really bad because I did not like it. I did not like it, but due to the situation at that particular point in time, I signed up on Upwork. Although I did not get any clients, but I still made that first step of
Exactly.
signing up on Upwork. And I know a lot of people that have signed up on Upwork and they were able to make something out of it, right? It was
Yeah.
just not the right thing for me at the time. But yeah, I've seen people like that. We have, what's this other platform also apart from Upwork? It starts with F. I can't remember.
Fiverr.
Fiverr is thank you. You are very correct. There is Fiverr too. People use those platforms, and there are times when you have an experience. You just digitize what you. I've seen people that are engaging into data science mentorship. They mentor other people for organizations that are willing to like pay them a penny or two just to like sustain themselves a little bit before they eventually get the dream job they want. A friend
Yeah.
of mine just got a fat role as a data science mentor. I screamed, like I was so happy. Like, in as much as that's not where you want to eventually be, but it's a step in the right direction, it's a step in the right direction. And
Yeah.
Tuji Adewale, I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much, Joe, so far. You are really, really killing it. And I love
Yeah.
that. We have David Mark on the show. Is from Nakuru, Kenya. Oh my God, Joe, those are Joe's people. He's true to be part of this session and looking forward to getting powerful insight from this session. Thank you so much for joining us, David. And we are getting close to the end of the session, all right? And I want to ask Joe a question before we move to the next question we have in the chat. There is this question that says, you have been in the tech space for a while now, and while most people clamor for change, what do you envision for your personal career goal? Like, as your personal career goal, do you plan to like? I know there is this common thing in Nigeria where when people have one or two tech experience, like when they have one or two skills, the next thing is to japa. We call japa moving abroad, right?
Yeah.
They just want
Yeah.
to move abroad. They just want to like expand their coast and all of those funny things. Like, do you also see yourself Japa in, or do you want to pursue like big tech companies, or do you see yourself just like pursuing further education? I have my own goals as well. I believe we all have those goals. Are you
Yeah.
able to share yours with us?
Okay. Yeah. Mine. I envision myself as a catalyst for technological change
Okay.
for Africa, providing a platform for young tech individuals to
Mm.
come together, collaborate, connect, build solutions,
Mm-hmm.
tap into the potential that we already have,
Yeah.
and move forward. That
Mm.
is that is my main vision, to make an impact in the tech ecosystem
Mm.
for Africans, for young tech enthusiasts,
Yeah.
and get to make their ideas realize to business ventures. And that's how we create a tech ecosystem
Mm.
within this place, because there's a lot of potential that has been untapped in the continent. There's a lot of market, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of young people, and I believe that Africa is the future, and
Yeah.
we need to be really observant on what
Yeah.
is happening. So that's my vision: impact in tech, having a platform or being a force that catalyzes
Mm.
people to build, come together, innovate, and realize their dreams.
I love that.
Exactly.
So you don't
Yeah.
care about money, Mr. Joe Karanja.
Pardon?
You don't care about money, about making money.
Yeah, that's an aspect that comes along.
Okay.
Sometimes when you solve a problem,
Mm-hmm.
money follows.
Okay.
Exactly.
All
Solve a
right.
problem and then the money follows. So if you just find something that people really need on a day-to-day basis, solve it, the money will be there.
I love
Yeah,
that. So
yeah,
you in a sense, you are saying wealth creation actually comes from impact creation. Like if
exactly. It
you
comes
make
from
an
impact.
impact, wealth follows, right? So
Yeah,
it's
think.
not like okay, go on.
Okay, sorry for that, but
It's all right.
think about what you use every single day.
Mm-hmm.
When you wake up and you need to communicate to your friends,
Yeah.
you probably have a messaging app that you use. Might be
Exactly.
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
When we want to meet, there is a tool that we normally use.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So
Yeah.
every single time you're using these platforms,
Mm-hmm.
they're generating revenue.
Of course.
They're not like they're not forcing you to use them. You
Mm-mm.
need them. So if you find a need, address it. That's why I
Mm.
love tech, because tech gives you a platform to solve
Yeah.
problems that people are going through,
Yeah.
generate revenue out of it. It really moves. And
I
tying back to what we have also as tech innovations in the country, someone was working on Upwork and
mm-hmm.
on Fiverr and realized that there was a disconnect in getting payments,
Yeah.
and created a platform to help developers and freelancers
Exactly.
get paid, a fintech platform. And through that, there's been a success story. And that's how I can put it.
Okay. Wow. I feel like this was one of the things that got me hooked when we first had our conversation. I
Yeah,
believe this mindset is sort of rare, and it's something you get to see in future Steve Jobs, or I don't know, or this the founder of Meta, the founder of all these big tech companies, because they
yeah,
were really, really big about making money when they were not really big about making money when they started, but they were really big on making impact and solving a
impact.
problem, right?
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
interesting because it's not like they did not have financial difficulties. It's
yeah, yeah.
just they had those things, but they had to prioritize what they wanted to focus on, and the wealth just came out.
Followed.
Followed,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I am blown away. Thank you so much. It has been juicy so far. All right, let's go to the next question from Tunji. Oh my God. Tunji has been an amazing guest on this show. We should give him a spotlight. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Tunji Adewale is asking a question that as an undergraduate who didn't study a tech inclined course, won't that be a limitation to the opportunities you can get? Okay, Joe, he's already shaking his head. Dig deeper, dig
Yeah.
deeper.
Yeah. I take that. Okay. That question, please, as a graduate who didn't study tech inclined course, would that be a limitation to the opportunities you can get?
Mm,
Tech is one of the fields actually where you can succeed even
mm,
without having the papers of a tech
mm.
inclined course
Yeah,
because it's skill based.
yeah,
It's based on what you can build.
and yeah.
Looking at it from the lens of the industry, if tomorrow
Mm-hmm,
I want a solution, I want a mailing solution, for example, a solution
mm-hmm.
that could send multiple emails to my clients, and you come to me with that solution, I won't care whether you have the papers. I'll care about the solution. Is it working? Is it solving my problem? Tech is about problem solving, and as long as you're solving people's problems, it doesn't matter. But it's always good in the long run to pursue small. You remember what I said? Breaking it into smaller, achievable milestones.
Yeah,
Do a number of certification, a month, 2 months, 3 months. At the end of the day, you'll be at a position where you are better off.
yeah.
And yeah, it should not limit you. Tech is one of those open fields.
Oh God, that's interesting. Oh, Tuji, let me. I love your response, Joe. Honestly speaking, not studying something in tech does not limit you at all. An example was when I was doing my medical degree at Obafemi Awolowo University, and the entire time I was able to work for I worked for one startup as a machine learning engineer. I I got to join like this algo, like a cryptocurrency organization also to do some machine learning stuff. And I did not have a computer science degree at the time, right? It's only now
Yeah,
that I can claim that I'm doing a computer science degree and I'm okay. But even when I was in a medical field, I did not have any reason to show my certificate. As a matter of fact, my first job was from an article I wrote, and the man messaged me on LinkedIn saying, "Oh, Precious, I saw this article and I think it addressed the problem my company is facing. Are you able to do this, build a solution for us?" Initially, I thought it was a scam, but it was not a scam. And I got my
yeah,
first internship with the company. So it's more about value creation and not about
yeah,
what you have on your resume. And I will also
exactly.
say you can take courses. There are a lot of online courses, free online courses specifically, that
That's
can
true.
help you to build. If certification is what you want to have on your CV, fine, take those courses. They will You will have those certifications right there. And I'm not even a very big person about certifications, but if you want to have them, take courses, get certified, and the word is your oyster. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up with this question for. Oh my God! What did it? Great Ife. Okay, I'm actually screaming because Tuji Adewale graduated from my university. So
Yeah, that's
exactly,
good.
and we normally
Congratulations.
say great Ife. So don't mind my guys. All right,
Right.
so
That's
so I'm going to this last question from Mr. Joe. If we don't have any questions from the audience anymore, if you still have questions, please drop them. We can quickly run through them. But I want to ask him this question: like, what would be your advice? Like, it's the end of this session. If you want someone to remember this session for something, what advice will you give to them that can help them achieve their purpose, 10x their growth, or whatever? What is that one advice you want them to take away from this?
okay. Number one, dream big.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid of dreaming big. Be ambitious, and then aspire to solve problems. Any problem you find out that people are going through, ask yourself, how can I get to solve this problem?
Hmm.
Then consistency in whatever you do, as simple as it is, be consistent in the
Hmm.
process. And that guarantees perfection in the long term. And at the end of the day, when you want to connect the dots, you look forward. You can't connect them looking backwards. You have to look
Hmm.
forward. And tying back to solving problems, being ambitious about doing it, being consistent, at the end of the day, you'll get there. Yeah. And
Hmm.
I'm still working on my career also. I'm not yet there. I'm still moving, but it doesn't prevent us from moving together.
Exactly. I love that. It
Yeah.
doesn't prevent us from moving together. You know,
Yeah.
what you
That,
just said right now, Joe Karanja, it sparked a question in me, and I think I want you to answer the question.
yeah.
You mentioned dream big and be ambitious. But if we look at histories of people that have dreamt very big, people that have been so ambitious, I feel like most of these people, these categories of people, they have lost things in their lifetimes because they focus so much on the dreams while neglecting the fact that this is a world where you have to live in, where you have to explore, where you have to feel happy. Like most people just want to, those categories of people, they were just dreaming big, and they missed out on a lot of things that normal people, natural people, like people that just want to live normally, they missed out on those things that people, the normal people are like enjoying, are like, do you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
what what will be your advice for you, for myself, for everybody who is dreaming big, so that maybe, I don't know, if you want to structure the question differently, you can, so that in as much as we are dreaming big, we don't miss out on the juice of life, on the importance of life, importance of living, right? And we are just able to, you mentioned that you are also still working towards a balanced life, like a balanced work life and all those things. But what do you want us to know about this so we don't miss out on a lot of things? I feel like the world is so big, and having balance in our dreams and all of these things is, from my own perspective, is the good way to live, right? Well, what do you think about that?
I think about balance, and as we are being, as we have dreams, as we are ambitious, we need to understand that it takes time. Time is one of the components, so that we don't put that pressure on ourselves, and we need to also balance it out. We remember that we still have social life. Make sure we bring the aspect of resting. Sometimes I've got to fall into burnouts, but I realized being consistent, balancing it out, having that kind of rhythm in life where you don't overstretch yourself and you also don't do so less, keeps you moving. Yeah. So as much as we are ambitious, even if it fails, it doesn't mean that it failed. We have failed in ideas and thinking. Think of an artist who drew a piece of art and someone came, burnt it or destroyed it. It doesn't take away the art or the talent from the artist. It's still within. They can still draw another piece of art
I like
and
that.
put it out there. The same case, if our ambitions tend to fail, we still have our minds and we can think of new ideas and actually implement them. And actually going back on stories that we already have of people who failed, tried again, and got it right, it's because of the number of times that you keep on perfecting and iterating. Yeah, it's
I
very
love
important.
that.
Yeah,
You know, a friend of mine, we keep saying, no matter how difficult a problem is, if you sit with it consistently, you will find an answer. And that's
exactly.
one of the funny thing about the universe. If you sit with a problem consistently, you will find solutions. So in as much as you want that balance, you want to keep yourself in check such that you know that there is a thin line between doing too much and doing less. So you
Exactly.
want your body to be able to auto regulate. You want your body to be able to know when you are overstretching yourself, and the time to take a break, the time to rest, and when you are resting too much, right? You must
Yeah.
be you must be able to tell yourself, okay, time to get up, baby. Let's keep the fire burning. And when you
Yeah.
are already running, you tell yourself, let's take a break here. Let's take some water. Let's take some juice, and then
Yeah.
pick it up again, right? So I want us to have that kind of mindset. You don't want to do too much. It's okay to do too much. I do too much. All right. It's okay to do too much, but know when to keep yourself in check. Like,
Exactly.
know when to kick it run, like get it running, and know when to slow it down, take a break, and then move again. I think
Yeah.
that's why God has added rest into the story of the
Our
universe.
stages. Yeah, that's true.
He rested also, not
I need
because
rest.
we
Yeah,
know we call him omnipresent, omniscient,
yeah,
whatever, right?
yeah,
But he
yeah,
still rested, right? So
yeah,
we just know when to and when to not. All right. This has been an amazing session, a fantastic session. Oh my God, I'm looking for more English to qualify this. It has
yeah,
been very, very great. Thank you so much, Joe Karanja, for sharing your mind with us, sharing your life with us, sharing your work with us,
you're
sharing
welcome.
the state of the tech scene in Kenya. Thank you for
Exactly.
sharing all of these things with us. It's really
Yeah,
great to see what you guys are doing, the ambitions you have, and the structures you have in place to keep
yeah,
things running and to be able to bring a lot of people
yeah,
into what you already know. It's
yeah,
really, really fantastic.
yeah,
And the personal values you've told us about on this call, I believe each and every one of us that has listened to you on this session right now, we know, oh my God, my alarm again. Each and every one of us, we know how to cultivate this habit moving
yeah,
forward. And
yeah.
thank you in general for sharing a
You're
piece.
welcome. You're welcome. I enjoyed it too. Uh,
E-
Mind blowing. And any future sessions, we are tuned and we will
exactly.
explore more topics also.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. Guys, if you need to follow Joe Karanja, he's on LinkedIn and I'm going to put his LinkedIn, sorry. I'm going to put his LinkedIn in the chat section so you can follow him. He's an amazing personality. He's someone you want to have around you to keep you in check. Like I know a lot of distractions are out there, but seeing someone who is super passionate is actually a good way for us to just be motivated, be inspired every now and then. If
Yeah,
you have not subscribed to this channel, please do. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the new sessions we are going to be having. I personally get to talk about like tech stuffs on this session. We talk about this is the way we bring people here every month to just talk about what they are doing, their passion, how they've been able to navigate life so far. We also get to talk about like internships, how to get job opportunities. I talk about scholarships a lot too because I've been able to get a lot of them when I started. So I teach people how to get scholarships also. Apart from that, I feel like this is just my vision for this place is for us to eventually like for people to be able to come here and be able to like see how people have lived their life and be able to identify their passion, identify their purpose by reading through the life of other people, right? And not
yeah,
like reading, just reading, but being able to find their unique self and what they've been called to do, right?
yeah.
This has been a great session. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. A lot of people are like live right now, and I really appreciate your time. It has been one solid hour, like a solid 1 hour on this call. Thank you so much,
Exactly.
everybody, and this will be the end of this session. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms. I love you. Bye bye.